Thank you, Ken Corna. Faster than I expected. First of all, I want to say that we'll be supporting this piece of legislation because we feel it's appropriate that legislation to deal with the issue, particularly in regard to data centres, and to put a stall on that and to ensure that we look hard at where it's going. Because the reality is we have a situation where the Minister for Energy in the country has come out this week and said that he can't guarantee that there won't be blackouts this winter. And under those circumstances, it makes no sense for to be proceeding with particularly data centres which are so hard on power and which are one of the big power takers that we've got in the system at the moment. I don't think anyone in the country can understand why we aren't in a situation where we can pause and reflect and look at this. If this piece of legislation goes through, it will go to a committee stage and we will tease it out and see if there's other issues that need to be dealt with. We all know that. That's how legislation works here. It isn't as if there's a vote tonight, bang, it's all over. We all know that's not the case and that it doesn't work like that it will take time. And we need to deal with this in a measured way. And I think a measured way would tell us that energy is something that we have got a lot of politics around in this country, and that we need to recognise that we have to come to a situation that we can find agreement and find consensus on. The truth is that we have already discovered more gas and oil in the world that if we burn it, that we will destroy the world. So there's no point in going looking for more anywhere. There's no point in taking any more out of the ground anywhere. There's no point in doing that because that is going to destroy the environment. So what we need to do is come up with solutions. And the appropriate solutions that we all agree on basically is that we have to move away from fossil fuels and go to renewable energy and do everything we can possibly to do that. And I welcome the situation in Rochford Bridge where they're talking about building, Ford Namone is talking about building a unit there. Of course, that's what we need to see happening. And we need to see more of that happen in more spaces. But that's going to take time. And that doesn't mean that we should plough ahead with everything else as if this is going to happen overnight. The other issue that it always strikes me when we talk about data centres and issues like this, I think it was 1991 I bought a home computer. It's quite a while ago. You'd want 2 tables to put it on. It was huge, and it wouldn't hold a fraction of what we now have in the data that's held on a mobile phone. So we would wonder that if technology that moves so fast, in another 10 years, will these data centres need to be the size they are? Will we need to have as many of them here? Or will there be big white elephants in the countryside? That's another issue that I think we need to have a little bit of thought about. Because the truth is that technology moves quite fast in all of this. Technology is also, of course, moving quite fast in regard to how we develop renewable energy. And solar and wind and all of those have come a long distance in a short number of years. And I expect that in the next number of years, particularly if we focus all the effort and all the energy that we have in our society and basically in world capital into investing in and progressing that particular sector, rather than leaving the option open of fossil fuels to be continued to be used. If we close that option off, it will force the attention and force the investment and the expertise of all the scientists in the world into making sure that we perfect renewable energies. And that's what we need to be trying to do. And I think in that context, this type of bill is doing just that. It's saying, look, guys, we can't continue to go down this road. We need to stop this, and we need to look at other ways forward. And I think the government, while I understand there's pressure, and there's always pressure from the industries out there, and I heard people from IBEC and other places on the radio in recent days talking about that, how we can't just close down the country, and nobody wants to. We're not saying about closing down the country. What we're saying is we have to proceed with caution, because we cannot proceed as we have been doing up to now. I think we all agree on that. So in that context, it's quite clear that what we need to do here is we need to put a moratorium and stop building data centres, and we need to also look at the whole issue of gas and oil and how we use it, and how we use it and still have it in the background, that it can be there. And as long as we have it in the background that it can be there, the same attention won't be put on the renewables. In this country, we banned fracking. And we all recognise that fracking for gas was bad for the environment and we need to stop it and ban it, and it shouldn't happen. Well, if it shouldn't happen here, it shouldn't happen anywhere. And there's no point in importing fracked gas from other countries when we're saying it's not good for the environment in Ireland. Why should we impose something on, let it be Pennsylvania or somewhere else around the globe, and say that it's okay to use the gas that comes from there, but yet it's not okay to take it out of our own resources that we know exists particularly in the shale basins that are in my part of the world, in Lough Allen, where there is huge quantities of gas, but you'd have to frack to take it out, and you destroy the environment, destroy the River Shannon and half the country by doing so. But we're saying that it's okay to take that gas from somewhere else. That simply does not make sense or stand up. So I think the issues here is that we need to use the legislation that we bring in to force industry to look at other ways of doing this, and to force the capital and the expertise of science to go in that direction, and to remove the option of fossil fuels. And that's really what I think this particular bill, and I want to commend the proponents of the bill in bringing it forward, that's what this bill is about. And for that reason, we certainly will be supporting it. I would implore the government to support it as well. Bring it to committee stage, tease out the bits of problems. If they see there's bits of problems there, fine, that's where you tease them out. As I say, these things don't happen overnight. We have plenty of time to deal with this. But in the meantime, I think the truth is that reality has brought us to a situation where we should not be having any more data centres being developed in the country anyway, without ever talking about having bills or moratorium to stop it. Common sense would tell us that we can't do that any longer.